So this next question, we may not have quite as much time, but we might have covered aspects of it as well. And I'm going to let whoever wants to start with this one. Um, what is an often overlooked or underappreciated source of non-dues revenue that you wish associations would pay more attention to and capitalize on? I guess another way I'd put it is if you were going to a new association and they specifically charged you with, hey, help us build non-dues revenue, what would you be looking at first and what would you be looking to build out? So anybody wants to start out with that would be great.
Well, we even
I,
had time to think about it.
I was sort of, I think Jay, I guess I would just say that there's a need to understand the unique value that each of our organizations brings to the market we serve and have that inform um, any of the opportunities that we're looking to create, even if our goal is to just do what we did last year slightly better. Um, awesome. Um, you're on your way to uh, expert level business development. It's about um, taking that unique value and understanding how to apply it, share it, and invite people into the conversation. It's one of those things where are we able to communicate the vision of our work together? Uh, I think that's missing a lot of times. And there's, again, you go back to the reason that that exists in the market. I can tell you that a lot of our members at one time they were administrators, or they maybe were department members of a department, an events team, or what have you, that were really organized and were able to take orders. And so they were almost anointed to be the sales lead, whether they liked it or not. And I think being able to understand how the value of our association and our work, it inspires folks, and it turns the business development role into one that should be among the most critical in the workplace.
Well, I think it's not just what is the most overlooked source of revenue when you're thinking about like a specific product, because I think that's unique to every association. I I would challenge every association that the revenue should not be an afterthought. It should be part of the program design and the content strategy and the advocacy planning and the member engagement. Like if there's alignment across the entire organization to say, as we're building the thing or improving the thing, is there an opportunity for a scalable opportunity to generate revenue? And how do we do that? And I think if that is the internal culture of an organization, that's where you're finding non-dues revenue, because every
Yeah.
association's product and service is different, but it's really just having the internal culture and collaboration to say, is this something that can generate meaningful revenue? And if the answer is no, that thing might still be important to your mission and that's okay. But if everyone can have that type of thought and conversation, I think that's where like amazing opportunities come from for associations.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And Jay, you mentioned that EDUCAUSE had a big group of people at PAR this year. We're going to have a big group next year, I think, and it's going to be some different people, because what we're finding is exactly what Brittany said, is we're having to shift the culture that non-dues revenue isn't those people's job over there. Um, and getting that as a part of, hey, when you write a research report, could this be sponsored? Should it be sponsored? If it's sponsored, by who and for what? How are they involved? Those things should be asked at the beginning, not at the end. And so we're trying to change our internal culture a little bit to do that, to think about it more holistically. Because Sean, you said something a few minutes ago that resonated. But I was at our annual conference this year, which is about 7,600 people this year, which is awesome. Big group, right? And our organization, EDUCAUSE, is fairly good size for an association. And I had people asking me questions about, oh, this research report that you all put out, or this thing that EDUCAUSE did. And what kind of hit me in the face was none of our members see EDUCAUSE professional learning and EDUCAUSE research. They only see EDUCAUSE. And so until we can learn to operate that way, we're going to miss out on opportunities or people are going to be confused about what we're up to. So I think Brittany kind of nailed it right on the head internally is thinking about that. And then I think Jay, your question of where would I start? I like Barbara's comment in the chat of look at the process because you might have people right there who want to be a part of your monetary investment and you just don't know how to talk to them or they fall through the cracks in the marketing plan or whatever it is. So I would start with process and then look at what you're already doing well and how do you grow it or make it more long term, like we talked about with question number one. How do you make it more of a long term relationship instead of a one off, like Maria was saying too? The one off events for us are also starting to, they feel disjointed, I think, to the membership, where it's like, oh, there's a research report, 2 webinars, and then this in person thing. That feels more logical to them. I don't know, Maria, what you think.
Like you earlier, I totally agree with you. I don't think I have anything right now to add to that, but I think that in the corporate, like industry partnership would probably be something that gets overlooked a lot because we are so focused on our mission. But our mission, like we talked earlier, it's fueled um, sometimes by the corporate and industry partnerships. So I think it's important to talk about like sponsored education series or evidence-based initiatives, anything that can fuel the mission to go forward. And I think, like I said earlier, I think sponsorship is very important.
Also add, Sean and myself spoke at Expo at the end of 2025 with a few other folks in the industry. We were talking about how you can leverage your C-suite or your executive director as part of the sales process. And I think that is actually often overlooked. And so I think if there's a way where leadership really leans into the revenue process. If your executive director or your C-suite is able to show up in key partner conversations, and if they're then responsible for embedding that revenue strategy conversation, like that's going to open more doors than any product that you're going to create if you've got that like executive leadership and sponsorship through whatever sales and business development process that you have.